pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Susan, would you call roll?
Cheryl.
Here.
Heather.
Present.
Jan.
Here.
Jake.
Here.
And Verna. Here. And I'm here.
Okay. We are going to have an addition to our agenda. Under Director's Report, we are going to permanently add, I believe, Trustee Report, because we have no place for any of those reports that we took off.
Friends of the Library, for
Yeah.
example.
Oh, yes. Do we want to tonight put that as 7.1, or how do we want to do that?
I'd recommend 7.1.
Okay,
You don't have to renumber everything.
exactly.
And
So, any other changes that anybody else sees?
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, ladies first.
I would like to, 12.4, exit interviews.
Okay. Permanently, or just, no, just time, yes, okay.
And
Jen?
mine is on 9.4.1. We approved the cost center budget.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to revise that to say 2024 cost center and line item budget.
Oh, and line
And
item.
line item budget. And we'll get into the reasons when we talk about finance, but basically, we're accountable to the public. Our CPA comes in and looks at it at line item level. And so we want to make sure we understand the line items and approve those.
Okay. Any other changes? Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Approval of the minutes. Anybody have any changes to the minutes? If not, they stand approved.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
Sorry. Section 12 under new business, it says summary, draft calendar for proposed closed dates. What, I didn't understand, I didn't recall what that means. Draft calendar for proposed closed dates?
The holidays that the library is.
The library.
closed.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. I don't believe that's a change then. So then the minutes stand approved. Call to audience.
Hello.
Okay. Laura, Director's Report.
But we have a written report, a couple of highlights. The FOL Gala, I know some of you were there Friday night. It was a lot of fun. I think it was a big success. Friends were very happy with the turnout and how things went. And now that we all know how to do a murder mystery, we'll have more fun next year. Because a lot of people didn't know how the whole thing, I didn't know how the whole thing worked. So, but it was a lot of fun. It was a really nice event. And then another thing, unfortunately not a highlight, but Ms. Rebecca will be leaving us. She has gotten an offer to be a library director at another library. So we will have to start over with looking for a library, unfortunately. So that's all, unless you have questions for me.
Any questions?
I just had a quick question. Can you tell us a little bit about this Oakland Talking Book Service?
Sure. It's housed at the Rochester Hills Public Library, and it's a service for any Oakland County resident. There are other programs in other counties, but the one that for Oakland County is in Rochester Hills Library. And it allows, she gave a really nice presentation of all the services that they provide. You can get it's like a cassette player. It comes right in the mail to your house. They'll send you tapes, and you can do it that way. You can download a thing on your phone and download audiobooks for free. It doesn't have to go through Hoopla or Overdrive or any of those. Well, we don't have Overdrive anymore, but and it's all free for Oakland County residents, and it's through the state of Michigan. It's funded by the state of Michigan. So she gave us a presentation to the staff to help them if somebody comes in and needs that service. We know where to send them.
So can we market that service, that it's available?
We can.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, like in a newsletter or something?
Sure.
or-
Mm-hmm.
I think we should.
Mm-hmm. I think
Yeah.
we have before, but we can certainly do it again.
So somebody who wants it, they don't have to go there.
Mm-mm. No, they can either call them on the phone or they can go online if they have somebody to help them.
So we can help them do that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, we can help them get signed up. They
Okay.
do have to qualify, so they have to go through that step with them, but there is a qualification for it.
You know, I think that's a great service and we should
Mhm.
make sure that our community knows it's available.
Anyone else?
Could we put that in the quarterly bulletin that goes out to the community?
Mhm. The newsletter? Mhm.
Yeah, the newsletter? Yeah.
I do have a question, if nobody else does, I'll
Mm-hmm.
go last. I don't understand why the Holly Chamber wants to have a Brandon chapter. I guess I don't understand that.
Because Brandon doesn't have their own, so
Oh.
they are now the Holly Area Chamber, they're not just Holly. So they have Groveland businesses and the Township, just Rose Township. So they're expanding, and so they have offered their services to Brandon as
Oh.
well.
Okay.
Do you know if they've talked to the group that was trying to put a chamber together here?
I think they tried to invite them to the informational session, but they didn't get a response. So they were invited.
Because I know Shauna was part of that.
Unless we have another shot.
Did you hear from Holly about that?
No.
Yeah, because I know my son was part of it too, and he didn't say anything, that anybody had.
I know he was
any contact.
invited.
Well,
Huh?
I know Jason was invited.
Was he?
He was on the list, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I know there was some discussion on some of the downtown businesses, because we're involved in that page,
Mhm.
and there wasn't a lot of interest
Mhm.
in joining Holly.
Well,
just
that might be why.
From the chatter that that
Yeah.
I've heard
Okay.
from other local businesses.
There were only a few businesses that
Okay,
so,
all right.
not a lot of interest.
I just wondered.
okay,
Mhm.
thank you. Okay, trustee reports. Jay?
Yes, I attended the Friends of the Library meeting on October 11th. Everybody was looking forward to the Hollywood Lies murder mystery. They're doing planning for that. They talked about the preliminary budget for 2024. It's going to be a bit less than this year due to things such as changing the online bookseller. They talked about election of officers coming up in December, and they're looking for people for some of the positions. Fran provided the library staff liaison report. She had brought a card and signed by all the members of the staff of the library, thanking the Friends for all their hard work. Brought some candy, I think, as well, and some food. Also, she thanked them for help with Battle of the Books, materials, support for babies, and other projects. So I had no idea how involved we are, how closely we work with them on these great projects. They talked about the silent basket auction that's coming up this year. They're going to limit it to 10 baskets. Apparently, there were so many last year that it was hard to position them and handle all the administrative work. So there's a sign-up sheet, I think Margaret or someone is keeping to find the first 10 people that would like to create baskets. I provided the library trustee update. First I congratulated the group for their terrific group of volunteers that they are, because we had National Friends of the Library Week, October 15th through the 21st. I thank them for their continued support and their enthusiasm. I mentioned the strategic plan we're working on. I read the new vision statement so that they were able to hear what that was, and I mentioned Alan's participation in formulating that, or commenting on that at least. And then I mentioned the opportunity to run for a trustee position, and that we're going to have a workshop or an information meeting early next year that people could attend. The cash balance is currently $18,543.31, and the meetings will continue to be on the second Monday of each month. The next one is November 13th. I'm not sure who signed up to cover that from the...
I got it right here.
Yeah.
I was just gonna comment, we're good through January 8th. So next month is Cheryl on November 13th, Verna on December 11th, and I'm January 8th. So if I can pass it around, or we can wait till we get closer to that deadline if people don't feel their calendars, know their calendar at this point. So, here.
Very good.
Thank you. Okay, Jay, you're still up.
Oh, okay.
Finances.
If you could turn to page 9 for the check register for the month of September. Three things may jump out as a little bit larger expenses. Toward the top there, September 6th, we've got the Microtech Systems hardware, $10,010. Royal Roofing Company's there for $5,700. A little bit further down near the bottom, September 20th, it says K&K Tree Service. There's removal of 3 pine trees for $1,075. Were there any questions or concerns about the check register?
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
What hardware did we get?
We updated the last of the computers that hadn't been updated yet, so there were some public computers and some staff computers that were replaced.
So new ones? Okay. And then the quarterly maintenance from Goya, and then do we get like a report from them or something when they do that? And was there anything significant in the report?
Passed with flying colors.
Okay.
Terrific. Page 10, we have the balance sheet. Some taxes receivable, what, $28,404 there. Any questions on that? We have the income statement on pages 11, 12, 13, 14. I know a lot of you look at the percentages of spend. We're now 9 months into the year. So some of the groupings, like on page 12, we've got office supplies are only about 49%. Staff and board expenses, 29.8%, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know if you
I have
particular comments. Some of those things come later in the year as well,
Right.
expenses.
On the three, I circled 3 different cost centers. I just wanted Laura to kind of let us know where she thought we're going with that. And some of them have, one-time expenses, once a year type expenses, but technology is close to 85%. Professional services is at 90%. And I know attorney fees are up there, and copier is up there. And then facilities, of course, we're at 93%, which doesn't concern me, but we have $34,000 left. Is there anything major that's going to come out of there before year end?
For facilities, well, just the monthly stuff, the custodial costs will keep coming. Snow plowing will probably start soon. That's pretty much it.
I guess if you can just kind of look at it and let us know if there's going to be any reason that we're going to have to put some more funds in any of these cost centers. If we can look at that next month and not wait till December.
I have one question on professional services, the vetting. Did we have no new employees from January through September?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But we are still,
We have 2 that have just gone through the vetting process, so we'll have to go next month. But other than that, we haven't
Wow.
hired anybody.
okay.
And so in total then, I'm asking the board for approving the expenses for the month of September, the amount of $89,935.57.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Oh, we have to do this by,
Yeah, it's a roll call.
yes. Okay. Cheryl?
Yes.
Susan? Yes. Heather? Yes. Jay?
Yes.
Verna?
Yes.
Jan? Yes. Okay, motion passes.
And lastly, on page 16, the budget amendments, there's no change since our last meeting.
Actually,
Sorry,
that
page
was
15.
15. Okay, no changes.
Yeah, no changes.
All right, thank you. Okay, committees, we can move on to committees then. 9.1, we have an ad hoc trustee recruitment, and we need to create a committee for this open house. Laura, did you want to spearhead that, is that right?
I can.
You can, okay. And I have not asked ahead of time on this. Is there anybody that wants to be on this committee? It would be, we're trying to plan this open house for early March.
I'd be happy to help.
Okay, Susan, would you?
Yeah, I'm happy to help. I'll be on call on the farm at the end of February probably, but other than that, we have birthing going on. So other than that, I will be glad to help.
All right.
We might just have to move a meeting
Probably
or
won't take
two.
more than
That's
1 or 2
okay.
meetings at most.
Anybody
I don't
else?
think so.
I could be involved in that too. And Laura. This is not an action item, so I guess we're all set with that. But 9.2, ad hoc board training. We discussed, as a result of the board evaluations, having a training evening. Well, a training session. It could be evening or it could be a Saturday or whatever works. And this is something we need a motion for now.
I move to appoint an ad hoc committee for putting together the board training.
Okay.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I have a question. Is this designed to bring new people in?
No, that's the 9.1, the trustee recruitment. This is our board training as a result of our evaluations.
Education.
We discussed several things to do, finances, and what else was on there, Jay?
Outreach, I think, or
Yeah.
community
Robert's Rules of
involvement.
Order.
Okay.
And Robert's rules, yes,
Robert's
and we
resolution.
talked about having like a 2-hour session to do that as a training.
So this committee would put that together.
Right.
And,
Right.
identify the date and those kind of things.
Any other questions? Okay.
And are you appointing people to that
Mhm,
committee?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we need a motion.
We already did it.
We already did, we already
We
got the
voted.
motion. We voted?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Goes quickly.
It goes quick.
She just
yeah.
slid through it. She-
We're gonna
Okay.
ask the question after we voted.
Got it, all right. So right now, for this board training, I'm appointing Jay and myself,
And me.
and you.
No, that's the
No,
trustee.
you're
Oh,
on-
that's the trustee.
You're the trustee. Right now, this is just Jay and myself for the board
Okay.
training. Okay. All right, going forward, policies. Because we have eliminated several committees, I'm going to appoint for the policies committee now, Verna, Susan, and myself. And then the finance committee will stay the same with Cheryl, Jay, and Heather. And
Who's on policies?
Verna, Susan, and Jan.
Okay.
So there's 2 committees and there's 3 on each. So we each have 1.
Okay.
All right, whistleblower policy.
So this one is coming back to you after the changes that were suggested by the board and after being looked at by the attorney. So the red are the suggested changes by the attorney, and there wasn't much to change, but
I have a comment. I know we had this before, and I apologize for not thinking of this sooner, but as I read through the whistleblower policy, it occurred to me that the board is left out of the process. And I think if there is something going on that needs to be discussed, the board should be informed. at the very least. And I just wrote this quickly, and we may need to change the wording, but where it says regulations, reporting procedure, I added number 5. The director or president is required to inform the board of the suspected incident and all steps taken or that were to be taken.
So it would just be the president, not the whole board.
Well, that's already in there. This is to
Right.
inform the whole
To
board.
inform the board
Oh,
that there
to
was an
inform.
incident that happened. Are we legally, because our stuff, everything is taped, is that a legal
Is
thing
that-
we can do? I'm asking, I don't know.
Or does that need to be a special
It
meeting?
wouldn't, I don't know that it would.
I think it'd be like a
want it
personnel issue.
At a meeting, yeah, I would have to.
Should be
It
treated
might
like
require a
personnel
special
issue.
meeting,
We couldn't do it in a board meeting.
closed session.
It would have to be closed session if you're talking about a specific person.
Right. But I think my original point is if something like this is going on, the board needs to be aware.
So even in an email or not
Right.
necessarily.
Well, there's,
Right.
Meeting. There's actually.
So it's just the statement that you wrote, Verna, is just to inform the board that something has happened. That makes sense to me.
Right.
could the president just say that there was an incident without specifics and put that in an email or a meeting without names or anything? That it's being handled?
I think at that point, in our board meeting, we go into we stop and go into
In
closed
closed
session.
session.
Well, if,
Ask the attorney how we
Right.
handle informing the board.
right.
So do we want to delay this another month?
I think we
Yes.
need to.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I can imagine a lot of different scenarios, but there's none in which I can imagine that the board should be left out of.
No, because it affects the library as a whole.
Right. Okay.
So I don't understand, is number 2 in or out? It's crossed off and highlighted.
Oh,
I'm confused.
on page 17
Oh,
again?
Yeah.
That's out.
That's out.
It's out.
It's out.
Okay.
Yeah, the attorney took it
I
out.
thought maybe it was out and somebody said, no, that's okay, and highlighted.
Okay. Other than that, any concerns with whistleblower? Okay, so we will delay this until Laura speaks with the attorney, and we'll bring it back next month. Okay? All right. 9.3.2 incident report.
The incident report form is coming back with the attorney's recommended changes. Same as last month.
I just had a question, and I asked it last time, but I don't remember that I got a good answer. Why are we not does not include, so we're taking out does not include being asked to leave the library, so that means that it could be included now?
In number 1A,
Yeah, 1A, sorry. And it's red and crossed out again, which I was kind of confused too. Was it originally in this, or?
It was originally in there. We took it out because we thought that is something that probably needs to be
It should be part of it.
reported, but, so it's verbal warning or written suspension, so that's just the same as a written suspension.
Okay, and that's fine. And then down under B, the big B, not the small B.
bottom of the page.
Bottom of the page, you have 1 crossed out, but you still have 2 and 3.
I mean, yeah, the attorney did that. I'm not sure why, but no, yeah, that should stay there.
I mean,
It should stay.
yeah. Just a little thing, but you know, it's just kind of weird.
I always the same thing, mine's like grammar.
I had one comment, letter A, item E, theft of library or patron property. We need to include the staff. I mean, you know, the staff could have things stolen just as well. So,
Library staff or patron property, is that what you wanted to say?
theft of library, comma, staff or patron property, so the three entities.
Yeah, good catch.
Does this have to go back to the attorney then, Laura?
I don't think so.
I don't think
so.
I don't think so.
Grammatical.
Kathy mentioned that we should probably add that to D as well. Property damage to library, comma, staff, or patron property.
Right.
Same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Good catch, both of you.
I do have one more item.
Okay.
Okay, and this is a small thing, and on number 2, emergency services should be called if staff has any reason to believe patron, employee, volunteer, trustee, etc. I think we can just simplify and say any person.
Needs medical assistance.
Yeah. We can leave it the way it is,
No,
but it seemed that would be
yeah, that
simpler
makes sense.
and more inclusive.
Mhm.
And also, I've added a number 4, the Brandon Township Public Library Board President should be contacted as soon as possible regarding the incident and the action that will be taken. Because we need to know if something is going on.
Comments? Other comments?
Could we add that with 3? Anytime police are called, library administration and board president must be notified?
I think you're talking about
Simplify
other
it.
incident reports though, right? Not just police reports?
Right.
Yeah, so hers is broader than just police reports.
Okay.
It could be under A1. Incident reports should be completed by all involved. Could say something in there about being shared with the board president.
Mine's pretty minor. What was that? I said mine's pretty minor. And B is the library's internet use policy. It's the name of a policy, probably should be all capitalized.
What
And,
page are you on?
18, B, A, B.
A1B.
Oh,
A1B.
okay.
Capitalize the word use and the word policy.
Yep, and then I don't think internet above it needs to be capitalized.
Actually, internet does need to be.
Does it?
Yeah.
Formally, yeah.
Mhm.
Because there's other parts that it's not.
Oh, okay.
In this one?
Not in this policy, but throughout. So, I don't know, I just happened to glance through. I
It
didn't
should
get-
be.
Okay. Okay. Then we'll relook at that.
Okay, so we are going to add number 4, B4, that Verna had read, correct? Does this go to the attorney again?
I don't think that would need to.
Okay, but you can add. Okay. So therefore, let's see, we are on incident report.
Move to approve as revised.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. All right, public computer and Wi-Fi. This is the first time this is coming to you.
If this was, well, it's not the first time, but the other one was
Well,
very
you're
different.
right, the first time this new one is coming to you,
We
sorry.
sent it to the attorney and a lot of things had changed, so she basically wrote us a new policy. I will say on page 23, G, Shauna caught a mistake where it says, the last line where it says files, it should say software, not files.
Hmm.
Uploading software.
Right. Mhm. So there's one change.
This is much more thorough than
Yes.
the previous one.
Mhm. I think they've had a lot of issues with this kind of stuff. I mean, the attorneys, I think, have been dealing with this a lot, so this is pretty foolproof policy. Well, none of them are foolproof, but.
Any other comments?
No, ma'am.
Looks good to me.
Okay. We do not vote on this time. We keep waiting. Keep it in your thought. Okay, that's that then. 9.4, finance, Jay.
Okay. Beginning on page 26, we have the draft budget. And then it continues on to page 30, which is the budget, the same figures, but it's summarized by cost center. As I mentioned, when we talked about the agenda today, typically, we'd approve the cost center budget, which is the one starting on page 30, the roll-up. But since we are accountable for, at the line item level, which is the detailed budget, I was suggesting that we, formally approve that as well. That's also the mechanism we use to kind of monitor expenses during the year. It's also used by the accountant at the end of the year to look back and were these expenditures authorized or not. The other important reason to do it at the line item level is because we'll be talking about the purchasing policy. The purchasing policy talks about getting approval if something is not in the budget, it's over $5,000. If you look at it as a cost center level, it gives very, very large dollar values to those cost centers. So almost nothing would require approval because everything's within the budget if you look at it from that way. So I would suggest that we look at this, handle any questions that you have now. If it looks good, go ahead and approve it, both the cost center and the line item budget.
Questions?
A number of people have asked questions about it. It's higher in some categories. Go ahead, Cheryl.
I just had a comment.
Yes.
We had significant discussion on staffing and the salaries. And this is going to be, if we become fully staffed, it's going to be a tight budget. So we're probably going to be looking at this April, May next year
Yeah.
again regarding salaries and that type of thing. So just so you're aware that that's going to come back to the board. And my other concern is until we actually know what's going to be bottom line from this year, how much is going into our fund balance from this year, which we're guesstimating is going to be, $100,000 plus. When we approve this budget, since we have committed $400,000 of our fund balance to fixed asset maintenance or replacement, we're only going to have in the uncommitted part of our fund balance, which is basically for contingency, additional operating expenses, that type of thing, just over 3 months. And our policy says we have to have 3 to 6. So just as a board, you need to be made aware of where we're at with that until we know where we're at year end. So that you're fully
The point is that
informed.
we need to watch it closely.
We do.
We need to build up the fund balance, and maybe not be 6 months, but we probably get it more than 4.
But no, just so you're fully aware. So.
Yeah, and I think Laura's been doing a very good job, following the budget and bidding out things. She and Catherine have done a lot of work looking for savings, and I think we'll see that at the end of the year too. Some of that money flowing.
Yeah,
out.
I mean, I think the end of the year is going to look fine, but
Yeah.
we just don't know that yet.
Right.
Barring anything weird.
Any other concerns or questions?
I have one, just on the interest investments. That took a significant leap up. We're pretty confident that we're going to be able to, okay. That's good. That's
I
good.
think we thought it was even a little conservative
Okay.
based on the current run rate.
Okay.
return on investments can change overnight.
Right.
And right now, they're continuing to go up, which is a good thing.
Okay,
But who knows a year from now what it's going to be, or 6 months from now.
okay, that's just a really big leap. That's
No
all.
guarantees on that.
Yeah,
No.
right. There never is, right?
No.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, can we get a motion then for the cost center and line item budget?
Move to approve the cost center and line item budget as presented.
Is there a second?
I will, Susan.
Okay, this is money though. Okay, Cheryl,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Verna,
Yes.
and Jan, yes. Okay, motion passes. All right, now we're on to purchasing policy.
Policy committee?
So this is our purchasing policy that we approved back in March of this year, with some changes that were suggested by the finance committee. And those changes are in red.
Move to approve
Oh.
purchasing.
I have a,
Go ahead.
Yeah, we have one question. Go ahead,
Go
Cheryl.
ahead.
The purpose of this was so that the board would be fully informed when there were any large monies that were being spent that weren't necessarily in the budget. Which goes back to Jay's comment about if we only approve a cost center budget, you know, we've got a facility cost center that has $120,000 in there, you know, and our director could go out and buy something for $50,000, not saying you would, but I'm just saying, based on our policy, without informing the board until it's already purchased and we see it on the next month's statement, you know. So my suggestion is, and we sort of had it in before, if you see in the first sentence under I, the purchases, or 1, or Roman numeral 1, we had or any non-routine purchases without appropriation in the current budget. We could use that language, or we could simplify it, so when we're looking at Roman numeral 1 or IA, purchases over $5,000 without appropriation, and then we could say the current line item budget, which was the reason we approved both. So if it's over $5,000 and it's not in a line item, then we would have to give approval prior to the expense happening. I mean, unless, and of course, obviously, this still allows for emergency in case there's an emergency, and, you know, the director makes her best effort to contact somebody on the board when she's going through an emergency to do that, but we still have that in here.
Yep.
But
Agreed.
otherwise, you know, we would have to be informed and give approval.
I agree with that. And one of the things we were trying to accomplish in this policy change was to limit the number of things that have to come to the board. I mean, the director should have some significant responsibility and be able to do things, but if it's not in the budget and that kind of thing, then we're still looking at maybe not more than 4 or 5 contracts that have to come to the board. It has to be a firm commitment that can't be canceled, and so typically for a year or more. And so the rest of it will be covered in the budget already. I
Makes
support that.
sense to me.
Mhm.
So I move that we adopt this policy with the change identified, which was purchases over $5,000 without appropriation in the current line item budget. I move that we,
Do we need
Otherwise-
to add the line item budget in
Yes.
there?
Yeah.
Current
Yeah.
line item budget. Okay, were there any other concerns or questions?
No.
Okay, we have a motion, could we have a second? Second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Since this is a dollar,
We need to do a roll
We
call.
do.
we need
Okay.
individual.
Berna?
Yes.
Jay?
yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yeah.
Okay, and Jan, yes. Okay, motion passes. Thank you for that. Okay, any communication? I know of. Unfinished business, new business, job descriptions, library associate and librarian.
So these are coming back to you for, hopefully for approval this month, because we want to use that new job description for the librarian to post the position eventually. So this came back with the changes that the board recommended. Those are in red, but the rest is the same as it was last.
I thought we were going to get all of the descriptions at the same time.
It's too much, I think it's too much all at once. So I broke them down into the different categories, so the librarian and library associate. It's too much to do them all at once.
So they're all gonna follow this format though, correct?
Right.
So they'll all be written in the same format?
Right.
Okay, and you're gonna bring a certain section of them to us at each meeting?
Right,
Because we need to get them done.
right. But I think it's too much to try to do them all at once. It's a lot.
I understand it's a lot. I just want to make sure that we remain uniform, that we not only use the same format, but make sure that we are consistent with the requirements. And so it'll be on us to make sure that we look at not just the individual items, but as a whole.
I just have one quick question, and this is, I guess, just finding out what you meant. On page 38, the very top item, it says serves on library committees. Are you talking about internal committees here at our library or external type committees?
Internal committees.
Okay.
So like summer reading committee. these kinds of things.
Maybe we should just say serves on BTPL committees, so we know that that's what it means.
At the top of 38.
Yeah.
MLIS is Masters in Library Information Science. Okay.
And
Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry, I just have one more question. So and again on the same page 38, we took out preferred, so you're requiring that, and still the 1 year is required also. Okay. All right, that's all I need.
Okay, any other concerns, questions?
Move to approve as revised.
Thank you.
Second?
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Laura? Signs?
I'm going to defer this one to Shauna.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I don't know whether to be proud of the fact that I have the longest part of the board packet this month.
It's the prettiest
Yeah.
colors.
It's colorful.
It's got a lot of information in there, so let me go over the different parts and then tell you what I'm requesting. So the very first page is the project proposal. It has the entire project that we want to oversee. And then following is the actual signs that we are looking at putting into the building, the actual phrases and what they would look like and the colors and everything. And following that are 3 comparable bids from the different companies that we asked for bids from. And in those bids, you'll notice that I have highlighted by different colors, and that associates with the project plan to show you that phase 1 was all the yellow, phase 2 is all the green, phase 3 is all the orange, and phase 4 is the blue. Just to help you quickly
look at and get any details that we needed from those bids. Now, Signarama is the only company that provided us the graphics and showing us exactly what we were requesting. And the idea that is behind this is that on our strategic plan, it said investigate indoor-outdoor signage. Well, we investigated it and we're like, well, we need to put some money behind it to actually do anything with it. So when we were talking with these companies, it's going to be very expensive to do this project, and so we decided to think about it in parts or phases. So our first phase would be to tackle our indoor signage. That would include putting names above the community room, the teen room, the book drop area, as well as a new sign that looks like Laura's sign in front of her office. This is library director and administration. That would be similar to what the meeting room sign would be, so that people could see it as they're walking into the teen room versus having it above the doorway. We thought it would be more visible that way. And the two signs that we think are pretty important are the wayfinding signs. So those would be located before and after the tower, and they are the same color as the circulation desk, that gunmetal metallic gray, I don't know what it's called, but we got the paint numbers and gave the paint numbers to the guys, and they were able to match it up to that paint color specifically. But it really gives attention to going to the different areas. So it would point to the adult area, it would point to the youth area, the restrooms, and the meeting room. And it's two-sided. So as you're entering the building, you would see both sides and they would have your directions. And as you're exiting the building, it would have your exit directions and where to signs as well. So on my little status summary, I broke down the 4 different phases, and then next you'll see kind of what we're looking at for a timeline. We went through and looked at the signage that we wanted and needed with these companies. We requested quotes. We're bringing it to you to look at, and then we are hoping to start with phase 1 with the money that we have left in our furniture and equipment line to complete phase 1 of this project. Phase 2 and 3 would either be incorporated into final year's budgets, or if we have additional money in the budget that's left over. And we kind of, when you look at the expense of phase 4, we didn't know how economical it would be to pay for an $8,000 sign to be above our staff doorway. So we're kind of not even looking at that particular phase any longer. But the 3 different types of signage that we would want outdoors would be along the 3 windows that are to the entryway, where it's a perforated vinyl where staff can see outside, but patrons would see like a designed graphic that would be like our hours or our mission statement, or maybe a cool picture, who knows. That can get designed at a later date and time. And then we would like to put the word welcome on the portico that is black right above our doorway for people to easily find our door. It seems that, you know, we have to walk a long way and you see all these windows and you're like, okay, here's the door, finally, I got here. And then the final area that we would like to do exterior signage is actually on this wall. No, one more down. We have our address, this is 304, but it doesn't say anything else. And you really can't see what the name of the building is, only on our little stone sign. So when you come from this way on South Street, if we had Brandon Township Public Library there, people would be able to actually see it on the building. Because sometimes I don't pay attention to the granite side anymore. So Next, I give you a cost comparison of the 3 different companies that we got quotes and bids from. And one of the things that I wanted to express to the board was that although we want to ask for approval on the types of signs requested for the interior and exterior of the building, knowing that we will have to come back later for those exterior signs based on material costs. So you giving us the ability to come forward and say, okay, we have the money, we want to get the 2 exterior signs done for the $8,000 and it went up to $10,000. Do we have your permission to spend the money? And we're not going to change what those items are going to be, essentially. I think that, we would like to work with Signorama specifically. They were the ones who gave us the best customer service. They were the ones that gave us the best documentation, but you will notice that they did not give us the lowest price. But for phase 1, that is the company that the library would like to work with.
Why do you think that the prices were so different? Were they actually quoting on different material or different types of signage, or what was going on there?
They were all quoting on the same material. So that is something I had to go back and forth a lot about. I don't really know if it's a material type thing or if it's a labor type thing. The Paramount Graphics, they gave us the lowest quote, but they didn't provide a lot of detail. They didn't, like, I invited people to come over and actually measure and do stuff, and they didn't come over and visit. So,
Okay.
the other 2 companies did come. They gave measurements. They told us what our different options were. We told them what colors we wanted, and so on and so forth.
So why no quote on phase 2? For fast signs?
Fast signs, they did not give a quote because I don't think they do that type of signage.
So basically, it's less signs for that amount of money? Because oh, no, I'm sorry, I thought phase 4, never mind. I was thinking that was the total, never mind.
Oh, yeah, there's no totals on here.
Yep, no totals, okay. So they wouldn't be able to do what we need to do for phase 2?
I would have to ask them
Okay.
again. They were the most difficult company to work with.
Fast signs?
Fast companies.
Can I ask some questions on the specifics of the sign? I have a number of them just because I went through and looked at them. So I'll just go by page. So looking on page 40, walking into the teen room, and I know you have this right across from it, you're showing this meeting room sign. And I know you have the big one that would be out here. I just don't know, unless you've done it, that people are going to realize you have to walk through the teen room when above this door it just says teen room. If you're going to have to walk through that door to get to the meeting room. If there's some other way, some kind of signage with where it says teen room that we could do by the doorway.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to decide right now, that's a thought.
Right. So the reason that we went with this particular type of meeting room sign is that if you're standing in the main hallway, if you're looking through there, you would be able to see that meeting room. So just like when you go to stand in front of the adult services desk and you look towards the children's door, you can see Laura's sign from that long distance, right? Same thing would apply is if you're standing in this hallway, you'd be able to see through that door that 8.5 by 14, 7 by 14-inch sign says medium. room.
Yeah, it just didn't seem very big, because I mean, 7 inches is only what, that big?
Mhm. But it's long, it's 14 inches long, so I think that's.
But the printing wouldn't be very, I mean, the printing is only gonna be what, 2.5 inches maybe, or something like that? If it's only 7 inches high, and you got 2 lines? Anyway, that's just a thought
Mhm.
on that one. I just thought that had to be thought about a little bit more.
Okay.
On page 43, and I don't know, because I can't get a real feel for this. I think we should have bigger arrows. I mean, they're hardly as big as a letter, and they just seem, I don't know, I'd have to look at the big sign, but it just doesn't seem like, or maybe highlighted somehow. It almost just looks like a little decoration as opposed to an actual arrow, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Maybe we make the arrow longer or something.
Okay.
Put it underneath the word?
Pardon?
Put it underneath the word?
Well, you don't want it to hang too low.
Yeah, I don't know, just something that is, just not that little thing there.
Yeah.
Then where you want the welcome sign, I think that's great, except that if you're coming from the parking lot and you're walking from the end of the sidewalk up, you're not really gonna see that.
More when you drive in, you would look to your left.
If you're looking when you drive in, but are you looking, because you're going to the right to get in the parking, so you're kind of looking that way.
But if you're coming from that way, you can see the door.
So I'm just wondering if we need
That's true.
something that, not only maybe here, maybe something that hangs here, so when you're walking down the sidewalk, you see it.
I'm visualizing what you're saying.
You know, because,
You're talking about this sidewalk right here?
no, the sidewalk that goes out that way.
Oh.
Because most people that you walk, you don't walk on an angle to the doorway. You walk over to the sidewalk and then up the sidewalk, especially if it's snowing or raining or anything like that, or if you park towards the back.
Mhm.
And so if you're doing that, you're not seeing that welcome sign at all. So we may want it not only there, but maybe then across so that people walking up the sidewalk see a welcome sign.
Maybe that's part of the stuff that's on the windows too.
Is there room to
And
put
if
it
it's
right
useful.
above the door itself? So people coming straight on? it
And I
says
meant to look
welcome?
when I came in tonight, but I didn't.
I don't think there's enough.
Just,
room.
again, just something to think about.
Yeah, can I make a suggestion?
Mhm.
You know, I think we're visual people. I think this whole project would be better if we actually take the time to go look at the different locations. I appreciate you taking all the photographs, but I think it's important that we're spending quite a lot of money, and we're also, you know, trying to help people who are using it. I think we need to spend time actually
On a tour?
on tour to go out, because I agree with Cheryl, that thought hadn't even occurred to me, and yet she's absolutely right. You know, the way I normally come from the parking lot, I would not see that sign. You know, so,
I would, but I walk around the corner.
Yeah.
what was that?
I said I
She
would, but I
walks.
walk around the corner, so it seemed perfect to me.
Yeah.
So can I finish what I was going through?
What was that?
She wants to finish.
I just have a couple more things.
Oh, okay.
The big signs where we're saying Brandon Township Public Library, are we doing any lighting?
No.
Do we want to do lighting? Because, you know, a lot of our traffic goes through later,
In the winter.
you know, or in the winter. I mean, you know, it's dark at what, 4 o'clock or something. do we want to consider lighting? I know that adds to the cost, but I mean, is it still something we might want to consider?
And is that something that these sign companies can do, or do we have to hire?
Yeah, I don't know,
Somebody
maybe
else
there,
to do it.
Would it be
maybe,
behind the sign lighting, or is it gonna be ground lighting?
I don't know, that's, I just think that we need to think about lighting for if we're doing that sign.
Yeah, ground.
It could be ground lighting that just shines on it, it could be light up letters, I don't know.
Okay.
You know, that's not my expertise, but I just thought, as long as we're gonna do this, it would be nice for people to see it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, kind of when you drive by, you see the parking lot, but you don't see much of anything else when it's dark.
You see the tower, that's it.
So, that was all.
And if daylight saving time does go away, you know, we're going to end up having more darkness hours opening, so.
No, and I mean, I like I like all the ideas, I think all of this inside and outdoor signage is a great idea. And I'm sure we can find room in the budget to do this. I just think if we're putting money into it, we need to give it great thought. I mean, I like what you've done so far. I just think there's a little bit more thought on some of the things. And I agree with Verna, we could each walk around and look and see if we have any more comments on it.
From a patron's perspective, is there a reason why we're going with the inside versus the outside first? I mean, do we get more questions about where things are located in the library versus trying to find the library and all the doors and all?
Yeah, because I mean, our GPS stuff is pretty, like,
Accurate.
it's all accurate, up to date, so, and we have a lot of hits on that type of thing. Whereas our indoor signage, we just have a lot of like temporary things because we didn't put them up knowing that we were gonna try and do
And
signage.
here we are 20 years later.
No, I think that's a great idea, and I like the signage that you've come up with.
Me too.
There was also a question, discussion about having a Brandon Township Public Library sign that faces M15, but who has time to look that way and see it? So right now, that's.
Well, she was
close.
talking about the one on the back of the building, though.
Sorry, say that first part again?
Is it one of your signs, your outdoor signs on the back of the building?
Yeah, over the,
That was deferred.
That
Yeah.
faces
It's
M15?
deferred, yes.
Yeah.
That's why I said I think it would be good if it was
Lit
lighted,
up, yeah.
so that if you're on M15 and it's nighttime, you see it.
Except that we'd have to cut down some trees and shrubbery.
Well, in between, I mean, the trees are bare during the winter when it's dark anyway, so. I
I
think
think right now
I think you would still see it enough.
that's phase 5, phase 6.
No, you know, I mean, maybe we move it up depending on, you know, what our budget looks like at the end of the year, but I just think that if we're gonna do it, let's do it right so that it makes a difference.
Any other comments, questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, can we go ahead and approve the signage now and then ask them to take a look at the electrical needs and lighting as another phase?
So do we
Do
want,
we approve on a company, or do we approve on just doing it?
Oh, I don't think we can approve the dollar amounts yet.
No.
We don't, are you
Well-
asking for that?
We would like to move forward with phase 1 specifically, because we have money, we want to use our year-end money for that. And we can get them started potentially in November.
so you do want us to approve Signorama?
Yes.
For $3,050.
I would just say, we had Paramount do all of our signs inside and outside for our office, and they did a fantastic job. Now, we did have to put some money down in order to get, you know, all of the pictures and all of that kind of stuff for our office, but they did do all of that stuff. So, just from personal experience, you know, and we're talking a $2,000 difference in, you know, some of that stuff, so. I don't know, it makes sense to me. If they're using all the same materials and all the same everything, it makes sense to me to go with a little bit less expensive company. And I also like the idea that they're local, you know, they're right here in the township, so.
The photos you've shown us are from Signorama,
Correct.
correct? And Paramount did not produce any photos. Okay.
Did you ask them to do that for you? And they didn't?
I sent an entire package saying, this is what I want. Give it to me in phases. Give it to me, come visit me, come take measurements. They provided me a quote via email and asked if I had any questions.
Did you give them any questions?
Like
Where are my pictures?
Yeah.
They had everything listed on the quote. So,
Okay, let's just say we went with Paramount. Can you hand them these pictures? Not really.
no, I cannot
No,
use these
no, you
pictures with.
cannot.
I would
So
have
we
to-
are
Well,
not
it's part of our
prepared.
packet, they can go
Right.
online and get it.
Right.
I created my own pictures. So
Oh, okay.
I didn't create these pictures, Simon and Rama created those pictures.
Uh-huh.
But the pictures I created for them, they can look at those again, yes.
Oh, okay. But we don't have the pictures you created for Paramount. Or do we?
No.
No.
They're very similar to these.
They
They
are.
just have like a architectural measurement software that they can do all the
Yeah.
measurements and stuff. Mine was, here's a picture and then using text overlay, here's the words that we want on the picture. So it's not scientific in any way, shape, or
But you
form.
are not comfortable going with Paramount at this point?
I wasn't comfortable with their communication preferences. I asked them to come over and visit, and I asked them for.
And they didn't have to come very far.
So, I don't know if they were apprehensive about all the outdoor signage part, because I did ask for the entire thing, and when I contacted, because I contacted over 8 companies, only 3 gave bids, and a lot of them said, we don't do that type of work.
Oh, okay.
So,
They did do our outdoor signs, so it's a little bit different. I
Oh,
mean,
they
you've
did.
probably seen.
yeah, so Paramount did provide
Yeah.
outdoor signage.
Yeah.
I'm saying all the other companies I
Oh,
contacted.
gotcha.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I would say what we need to approve or have a motion on is a company. We know we're going to do this. We need to have a motion on a company. Laura, do you have a feeling?
Signorama was the only one that gave us what we asked for, as far, without having to hound them, basically, for numbers. And then the materials and colors and just the communication. I mean, it brought me right back to the parking lot engineer situation. Like, yes, they were more, but comfort-wise, I think Signorama would be the way to go. And we could always, use Signorama for phase 1, and then think about it for phase 2, maybe, see how they do. Maybe they don't meet our expectations. But as far as communication and professionalism and answering our questions and coming out, I mean, they were out here when they came, they were here for a long time. I feel more comfortable with Signorama.
My recommendation would be go with Signorama for phase 1, and then give feedback to Paramount on why they didn't get it, and ask if,
They would like to regroup?
they'd like to review on phase 2 and 3.
That makes some sort of logical sense, but inevitably, if what Signorama produces and what Paramount produces, it's going to be a totally different style. It's going to be something different. Okay, we've put a lot of money into the building. We've put a lot of money into the parking lot, and I suggest that whatever signage we use, it should be consistent. It should look good. If we decide that, Paramount is adequate, that's fine. I have no problem with spending the extra money with Signorama because we have, very specific photographs of what they're planning to do and what it's going to look like. I guess it's one of those situations where from what we see in front of us, it looks like you get what you pay for.
I have another question.
Mhm.
And I don't know enough about signage, but in looking at the quote you got from Paramount, are they quoting what you were looking for? Can you tell or can you not tell?
I can tell just because I've worked with the other companies and they explained exactly what it is that we wanted. So when we went through and got quotes, we were looking at the comparison of aluminum letters versus PVC letters and vinyl letters to see what would be the best cost effective method, what would last the longest, what is cheaper in that sense. So Paramount did vinyl letters, and then they did their PVC letters underneath. So when I asked for quotes, I asked for both types of materials, knowing that there is a cost difference in those materials to see, what's going to be more beneficial to us. Then when we actually got to speak with experts in the field, it was just like, what do you recommend for this particular area? And we decided to go with PVC over the community room or the teen room because it gives more depth perception for accessibility versus vinyl in those locations. There's not enough lighting to be able to see it appropriately. So being able to give it depth perception and some shadowing contrast, people are going to be able to accessibly read where things are in the building.
So,
Did I answer your question?
well, kind of, except that I'm seeing vinyl and PVC on their quote that you have highlighted in yellow, which I assume is what, phase one?
Phase one, yep.
Yes. Yep.
So,
So,
which I'm confused because,
Cyberama went through and broke up the quote exactly how I requested. I said, hey, we want to do this in 4 phases. We want all the interior signs on the phase 1. We want the perforated signs on phase 2, and we want the rest of phase 3 and 4. Paramount has kind of put everything together on one. So really, we would have to break out since we're going with PVC for the community room and the teen room and not vinyl, we would have to get the different pricing for that.
so how did you come up with the $1,858? That's what I'm not being able to match that.
So you'll notice where it says size, so at the end of the yellow, it says size DS installation 60.
Yeah.
You'll notice that those amounts aren't over underneath the material prices. So if you add all the material prices with their installation prices, that's where you should get that 1,000.
So the amounts that are under the description are not included in the rate and the amount on the right-hand side, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, would you say that again?
Installation is
Okay.
not shown in that
Got it.
column, which is
Okay.
right, yeah.
Yeah, because, when I'm looking like at the second one that says meeting room,
Mhm.
bracket is 10, the sign is 10, and the installation is 10, and there's 30.
Right.
So the installation is there. So what installation is not?
So since we would have all this work done at the same time, since we're paying for installation and the vinyl, I did not include the installation for 10 because we would have all of this done at the same time.
So I'm still not finding where we're coming up with $1,085. That's bad. Confused.
I'm getting the 40.
I'm coming up with like, what, 479 or something.
Right.
Stud knot, 300.
If I just do the yellow stuff.
So then we've got a really big difference.
Because the way the eye and chain hooks are $80 each, so that would need to be done twice.
Okay.
We think. And that was one of the problems with them, is it's really confusing. We don't know how many chain and eye hooks that it's gonna take to hang that sign. So, you know, it says $80 each, maybe it takes 3, or maybe it takes 2. That was one of the problems that we had with them, is that it's just really unclear.
Yeah, this whole thing is unclear.
Yeah, because their total is 6665, and that's way less than if you add all the way across. That's why I was confused.
And I don't know where they got $1.80 for tax. That makes no sense at all.
Because there's probably one little item that they have to tax or something, who knows?
So the total of all phases for Signorama, is that close to 20,000? Or am I way off?
It would be,
Yeah, it's about 20.
20 compared to 7, it's a big difference.
yeah, 19,400.
Okay. And for, oh wait, for fast signs, and I have fast signs. Yeah, for fast signs, what was the total? I'm finding that very confusing too.
Well, and they have no quote for phase 2, so you
Yeah.
can't really compare.
Uh-huh.
And we're postponing phase 4, or not doing phase 4.
So we're actually comparing 19 to about, what, 12 or 13?
13.
I mean, I agree with Heather, I'd rather go with somebody local, but based on what I'm looking at this quote, I don't think any of it's clear.
I know, it's messy.
Which makes me concerned. I mean, are we gonna,
Well, but I feel like that's what they do. Like when we had, some of you guys have been in our office, when we have a big vinyl mural behind our front desk, and there was one price that came in and they just put it on there and we were good to go. But it was definitely the least expensive of any of the other places that we've looked at, you know, so. I don't know, I mean, I thought they did a great job. It's all nice and straight, it's beautiful.
I'm assuming it's a
How long
contractual
was this?
thing that they're committing to
10
this
years?
price, no matter how confusing their invoices are.
No,
You know, the only other thing I can think of is that I would need to walk in and talk to them in person versus trying to contact them via phone and email. So,
Maybe. I don't know, it just seems like, you know, 20,000 compared to 7,000, is it really?
well, the other thing that
Especially if
I
you
would
want.
be happy to express is that we're not, just because we're asking Signorama to do phase 1, we're not asking that they do the entire thing. And that would give me time to go to Paramount to say, hey, will you come over and I'll pick you up. Here,
Right.
come over and
Here's my
let's talk
question
about
though.
what we want.
Would the print or the sign look different? We want, you want unity.
So with all signs, all the fonts are gonna be the same, all the colors. We're either sticking with black or white. We want high contrast for accessibility reasons. So no matter what, the only color that you guys have seen in here is, I think, the new yellow. We wanted that for the children's area to give them, you know, pops of color and excitement, enjoying the youth center. And then the gray, the dark gray for the wayfinding, just to give it a little bit of more dimension compared to our wood and yellow and gray. It matches our carpet already, so.
Well, do we want to go back to Jay's motion?
I move that we approve Sinorama for the purchase of phase one for $3,052.18.
Is there a second? I'd say the motion is not approved.
Okay, let's move on.
So do we want to then move or have a motion for all phases for Sinorama? Is anybody interested in that motion?
For phase one for Paramount. See how they do.
Anybody want to make a motion?
My hesitancy with Paramount is we don't, with Sinorama, we know what we're getting. We can see it, and we can know what to expect. With Paramount, we don't. They really didn't give us any kind of images to look at, to see.
But if we do it in phases, they have that chance, otherwise they lose two and three.
But if we approve for them to do phase one, they're gonna put something up, and we don't know what they're gonna put out. I mean,
Paramount, this is.
Well, but you have to approve all the images and stuff
Right.
before anything gets put up. I mean, that's what we did.
Right.
So if we, let's just say we went with Paramount for phase one, I don't see where the total is. What would be that total?
Yeah, it's a very poor
It is.
quote.
So we can't even approve a total.
So they'll have to get postponed. But that's okay.
Well, there's still a motion on the table. I haven't heard it. Then we moved on.
We still need a second. And
Well, let me throw this out. What else do you want to do differently, board? Approve this. What is it you want to do? Make a motion for something.
Okay, motion fails.
Okay, let's move on then.
Hold on.
Okay.
Verna, you have a concern or a motion?
You know, I would like to second it, but I still think there's just a whole lot about this I just don't quite understand. You know, what we're getting for the additional $2,000 on phase one.
That's what I would really like to know, is what's the difference? Why so much of a bigger
Right.
cost
So
difference?
just
Like, I'm okay
looking at
approving it, but I
just
wanna
those
know
two numbers,
what the
phase
difference
one,
is.
Sinorama, Paramount. There's a, you know, a $2,000 difference, 1,000 versus 3. Now, I don't have a problem with spending the 3, but I'm not sure I understand what we get for that. And then when you know, go to the other phases, it's the same thing. And I understand we probably want to be consistent. Have one company do it all. But I know it's just $2,000, but
Yeah, but that's still.
I don't understand what we're getting different.
Well, I don't know, I don't think we necessarily need to be consistent in this type of signage, because we're just asking for letters. We're not asking for design work, we're not asking for, I mean, phase two is, yes, that's for the windows and that's design work, but that's something that can be decided down the road. But the letters for the tops of the building, or the tops of the rooms and the signs, that's all gonna be the same font that we use throughout the entire building. Any of the font that we use outside the building is gonna be the same as the font that we have on the building already. So consistency, they have to follow through with what font we want. So, and since we don't have variable color options, black and white is still gonna be black and white, I guess. So I don't know if that helps.
So let me understand. So for the additional $2,000, what we're getting is a company that we feel more comfortable working with?
So I'm looking at the two quotes side by side, and I noticed that like the installation for all interior signs from Sinorama is almost $1,000. They come in and do all the installation stuff. That's not as clear on Paramount, but their installation costs are 140,
Can't really tell for sure what they are.
80. So like maybe $400.
But see, it looks to me like when I'm looking at the Paramount, you know, because like I say, we've done this, we've worked with them before, and they gave us a quote very similar to this, and that's what the total was. So if that's the case, and there aren't any extra hidden costs that we know of, we're looking at, what, $400? $600, whatever it was, you know, just for that. Like, I think that the numbers that are under the descriptions are what's included in the amounts that are on the right-hand side. I don't think that there's extra in there. That's just me, you know, reading what I'm looking at on the paper.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can we take a break and walk through the building real quick, a 5-minute? To see where some of the signage is going to be and.
I second the motion.
Yeah,
We take 5-minute break.
let's do that.
Absolutely. We don't have to close the meeting then, open it again, do we?
Yes.
Yes.
We do.
Okay. So I need a motion to close this meeting so we can take.
What, I got 6:26?
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Let's take a walk. Okay. 6:35.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the meeting reopens, and we are back to,
Heather, you have to share your discussion because we're at back in meeting.
okay.
Yeah, we're back in meetings. We need
Okay,
to
I'll let
discuss it.
Shauna explain.
Okay, Shauna, we're open again.
All right. What am I explaining?
Well, you were
Just
talking
what you
Heather
were
about.
telling me.
Oh, so we were talking about the chains versus the brackets for the wayfinding signs. And the wayfinding signs are the gray aluminum signs that have the 3 words on them with arrows.
Yeah.
We will increase those arrows to be bigger. So the difference is that a chain and hook system is cheaper than a bracket system because the bracket has to go all the way along the entirety of the sign, whereas the chain and hook is only going to go the 2 points. Now, we're not interested in the chain and hook because of tall patrons, and we want to deter people from hitting it, whether with their hands or their head by accident. So with the chain and hook system, that would fall lower from the ceiling than a bracket system. With the bracket system, keeps that sign flush with the ceiling so that we have a higher profile,
Yeah,
higher profiled sign.
there's nothing's hanging down, it's right with the
Well, it's
ceiling.
more stable because it's all hooked all along.
And you're saying the company's quoted differently?
Yes, so we were, Heather and I were just looking at that Paramount quotes $80 for each chain and hook, eye hook. Whereas if you look at number 3 of
Page 48.
Page 48, yes. Number 3, that's where they have that hanging main hallway directory signs. Both of those
So that could be the
signs
difference.
are $1,100.
So that could be the difference there, is having the brackets versus the chain hook.
Yeah.
Correct.
If we replace that cost, we're looking at just a few
It's
$100.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty close, if, you know, Paramount is similar as far as that cost goes, so.
Paramount is also a PVC sign, whereas Signorama is aluminum.
So we are looking at different materials then?
Yeah.
Between the two? Okay.
Yeah.
And you would prefer the aluminum versus the PVC then,
For that sign.
for that
Yes.
side? Okay, so that could be what the difference is in the cost
Okay.
between the two. Okay, I feel better about that now, thank you.
So should we revisit?
We could.
Okay,
So
So
shall we
we have a motion.
re-entertain the motion?
We have
I'd
a
like to-
motion on the floor.
we have a motion. Jay, could you state that again?
Well, I move that we approve the purchase of the signs for Phase 1 for Signorama in the amount of $3,052.18.
And I second the motion.
Okay.
I would like to recommend that we allow, because was there anything that we were talking about that needed to be changed in these interiors?
The arrows on the wayfinding.
Yes, the arrows.
We ended up being okay with the meeting sign.
I think it was only the arrows and on the interior. Yeah, that I thought of.
What?
So I would add maybe, I don't know, a couple hundred extra dollars just in
Three
case.
signs, no bonus. Only three.
For
Yeah.
factor of
Got it,
the
yeah.
increased
Right.
arrows?
Yeah,
100, do you think?
I would go to 3,300 and approve it at that in case the arrow stuff is more. That's a 10%.
Up to $3,300.
Mhm.
Okay, this is,
Do we need to vote on her amendment?
Yes.
Yes.
okay. First, we do that first.
Yes, the amendment first.
Okay. Do we need a motion for the amendment?
We just need to restate the motion.
Okay.
I'd like to restate my motion. We
We
approve Signorama for Phase 1 for up to $3,300 for signage.
Is there a second?
Okay, and I second that motion.
I
Okay.
have one question.
Mhm.
Where does the money come out of, which,
Furniture and equipment.
and we have enough in there to cover it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why it's important to do this tonight,
Okay.
so that we can get it in this year's budget.
Okay.
Okay. This is finances, so
Roll
Verna,
call.
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
and me, yes. Okay, motion passes to approve Phase 1 with sign-along,
For up to,
$3,300.
$3,300.
okay.
Now I know what to expect when I bring Phase 2 to you.
I know we're comparing apples to apples.
Shauna?
Order dinner.
Oh, no, bake for us.
We want our citizens to
And pies.
Hand pies.
Hand pies.
We're just being
Okay.
fiscally responsible.
Yes.
we want to make sure we get the best value for our citizens.
Thank you all.
Yes,
All
thank you
your
for all the
comments.
work.
Thank you for the tour. Thank you, Kathleen, for your comments and your measurements. Okay, 12.3 Director Evaluation.
Okay, so you have in front of you the questions that we used from last year for the director evaluation. I thought I would just bring these back so we can take a look at them. If there's anything that anybody sees that should be changed, should we continue with the same questions? Should we look at a different way of doing the evaluation? We do have the evaluation, and I will bring the results forward before you actually do the next rating, so that you will have that information in front of you for the eval. But any questions on those? Are we moving forward?
Yeah, so the rating categories,
Mhm.
we'll be applying that to the higher level strategic plan, for example,
Correct.
library uses, not individual.
Correct. And then there will be a comment section. So you will rate each individual question, and then there will be a comment section, one for strategic plan, one for library use and community development, one for,
Oh, so you would rate A, B,
yes,
C, D?
yeah, each of the questions, yeah. I know, but it's a little bit easier that way. You don't have to spend as much time. Would you rather comment
Just
on
get some-
every question?
You've probably already programmed it, right?
No, we haven't
Just
done
get some
this yet.
popcorn and,
I know. But this is a really important aspect
It
of
is.
what we are responsible for as a board. So I just want to make sure that we're hitting all of the things. And it was really nice with the last one, this is the way that we did it the last time, to be able to compare those levels for each of those questions and see, okay, well, she scored really well with the strategic plan, but there was this one question that didn't really score very well. So not that that was the case, but,
Example.
we would be able to keep track of that
Right.
in that way, so.
it's good to have consistency so we can see how things
Yes.
adjust from year to year.
Right.
Yep, yep.
You okay, Jay?
I know, it's gonna
No,
be time
but-
consuming. I
Take a
know.
deep breath.
Yeah.
I had a few questions on this, sorry.
That's okay.
It's okay?
Some of it is just changing the word a little bit, and then some of it is, some of the answers to these, I don't think the board can answer. I think can only come from a staff
Okay.
survey. Because
Okay.
we're not here every day.
Correct.
Such as, does the director provide adequate support and direction to the managers? How do we know that?
True.
Unless
Okay.
we poll the managers and ask them.
Okay. I mean, it's still our job to oversee and make
It
sure.
is,
she's
but some
doing
of
those
these
things. Yeah,
are-
I get what you're saying.
We judge it based on the overall accomplishments of the library as opposed to some of these individual things that we're not here to see.
Mhm.
And unless somebody
That's true.
brings it to us, we don't.
Right, but Cheryl just made my point that we should be looking at the major categories, rating those, and then use these as considerations. If we try to rate each of these individually, like she said, some of them, we don't really know. What do you, so what do? Do you make that a 1 or do you make that a 5? I have no
Well,
idea.
and
Or just that 3.
it started out for me when I looked at 1C, and it said, are the director's accomplishments in sync with the plan? We're not looking at her individual accomplishments. It should say, are the library's accomplishments in sync with the plans? Because she's directing what's happening in the whole library.
Okay.
You know, so we judge by, is the library following the strategic plan? Are we accomplishing, is the whole library, is it accomplishing our vision, our mission, our strategic plan? It's not by individual things that she's doing, it's kind of an overall picture. Because with not being here on a daily basis, we can't judge that. We have to judge by everything that is happening.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Well, we have a couple of months. The idea is to
When is this due?
present the evaluation in January. So we have
Finished
the finished evaluation in January. So we need to have the questions and all of that stuff done, finalized like mid-December, so that we can present the results in January. So we could, you know, potentially, if you guys want to take a look at these questions and send me, you know, suggestions for ones that we should take off or move around or whatever.
And then approve it at
and
our
then
next
approve it at
meeting.
our next meeting, we could do that.
I mean,
That's
just
why I
in-
brought it now.
Just
as
in,
opposed
in,
to-
nu- in number 6, there's 9 things to evaluate in that one.
Uh-huh.
Well, and I had a word written here that says redundant. I mean, a lot of them is asking for some of the same,
Same things.
yeah, which I
Okay.
think we could just simplify it a little bit.
I mean, if we
Okay.
did stick with the major categories, that's still 9 different things. I mean, I'm not saying that to say that's too many. I think that's a good number, and it covers the right kind of things, because we've spent a lot of time kind of putting the framework together.
Yep, for
But my
sure.
suggestion, again, would be to use these as considerations, and then comment on those that maybe are not where I would expect them to be, but not in each, rating
So are we
chart.
doing a rating for each one of these A, B, C, D, or just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
So the ratings will be for each question, and then the comments will be for each section.
So maybe we ought to do the ratings for each section, still leave these questions so we know what it is we're supposed to be thinking about when we rate that section.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying. The difficulty with that is then, you know, if she scores, let's say, a 4 in strategic plan, we don't know where that one spot that needs to be worked on is at. You know what I mean?
If somebody
There's-
doesn't put the comments.
Right, if we don't know exactly where, you know, so
No, I
maybe
get it.
there's a, you see
I
what
get
I
it,
mean?
yeah.
If you're rating each question, then you can see where exactly those improvements need to be made.
No, I get it. I just think that maybe we should go over it and we might be able to eliminate some.
That's fine, we can definitely do that.
you know, or just revise some of the questions a little bit to make it a little bit more
Okay,
simpler.
yep.
I think, yeah, I think number 4 is very difficult. All of, I mean, 4C was brought up, but I think all of 4, A through I, is
But
difficult
we
for
still
us
need
to
to
know.
be, you know, on top of some of those
Uh-huh.
things.
Can I make a suggestion?
Of course.
Okay, so we have a month to work on this. Can I suggest that within the next 7 days, we all send our comments on individual items or whatever
Yep,
to Heather?
yep.
And then, Heather, if you'd like, I will sit down with you and then we'll figure out ways to simplify some of the rest of this and
Okay.
then bring that draft back
Okay.
in November. Is that acceptable?
That
That
sounds
makes
good.
sense to me.
Would you like?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
I would
Can you
love to.
send it to us in a Word document?
Yes, I can.
And then we can just do red line and you can see what our red line is?
Absolutely. Yep, I can do that.
Okay, that would be easier.
Isn't this already set up in a different format?
No, I have it in a Word file.
Do you have it?
I
Oh,
think,
great.
isn't what I sent you, Kathleen? I think it's a Word file.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
If not, I can copy and paste it into a Word file.
Okay, that's good.
If I get really lost, John, I will be calling you this week.
Well, I do have something that may help both worlds in perspective of like, what we could do is everybody still gives a single ranking, but we can have the computer do a automated, your total overall score for this section is this. So.
I think that's what it did the last time, but you're
Yeah.
still reading each question.
Right.
as you go
So you
through.
wouldn't have to say, oh, the whole thing is a 5, your individual things would say, oh, it's a 15. Does that make,
Yeah.
Yeah.
does that help at all, Jay, or?
It's just the number of.
Not right.
It's just me, I.
No, it's not just you.
I'd be happy to fill it out for you.
Perfect.
Laura will fill yours out for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, well, yeah, well, 7 days then?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Would you
Yeah.
remind us after 5
Yes,
days?
I will.
Yes, please send us a reminder.
Not a problem.
Okay, all right, so that's, there's no action item here. 12.4, Verna, exit interview?
Yes, exit interviews. Previously, years ago, the board had exit interviews, and I'm not sure, you know, maybe in transition, the thing got dropped. I would like to see us consistently, and I think there is an exit interview form, and I think we should take a look at that, what it asks for. But I think each employee who leaves should be given a form to fill out with basics, but also to be offered to have a verbal exit interview with the board. Not required, but I think I would like to see every employee have the opportunity to come to us with suggestions, ideas, what works, what doesn't, you know.
In a closed session, you're saying?
I think it would need to be
It would
closed.
need to be.
Well, they would have to.
Well, it would be
request
their
right?
request.
At the
Part
request.
of
The
that.
entire board?
At the request.
It'd be up to them if they
Yeah, it'd be
want
up to
closed
them.
or not.
Well, obviously, it would be up to them, but I think.
No, I mean up to them if we want it closed or not.
Oh, okay.
They get to choose.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, that's part of, yeah, that's part of the process, but.
I think it might be a good idea I think that that might be a very intimidating thing. I think it might be good to offer them a meeting with a board member or the board as an entirety. I think they might be more willing to talk to one or
Giving
two
them
board
an
members.
option?
I think that would be
It
a
would
good
have-
idea.
It would have to be the
It
president.
would have to be less, 3 and less, right?
Well,
What was that?
They could meet with the board members, more than one, but it has to be 3 or less, otherwise it's a
Right.
meeting.
Well, I think it makes more sense just the president, if they
Or
don't
just
want
the
to come in
president.
front of the entire board, because the president is the voice,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
I
From
do
the,
think that's, I just think if we said, you know, go before the whole board, I think they're gonna say.
They're not gonna want to.
Yeah.
Well, and I have a question.
Depends on the situation too.
Since, I know recently you did an interview and you got the form filled out.
Mhm.
Obviously, that's an existing employee still, it's personnel, it's, what about, and you'd have to ask the attorney this, because I'm not sure under the closed meeting. The board going into a closed meeting so you can present to us the information that you gather.
Personnel.
Or if the board, if the president is involved, what you and the president have gathered, so that the whole board gets that information, but it's not public.
Personnel is a legal reason for a closed meeting, so that would fall under personnel.
So we
Okay.
could potentially do that, and you would call that.
Can you just confirm with
Sure.
the attorney that exactly what we want to
If
do?
it's after their exit date, I'm not sure you could do that, because they're not personnel anymore, they're public.
Ah.
I'm
It's a
just not
personnel
sure.
matter,
Right.
so, but I'll clarify.
Yeah, just make sure.
But if it's to be shared with the entire board, when do we do that? Do we do that in our open meeting?
Well, like I told her, it would be a closed session, and it would just
Okay.
be during a regular meeting. We'd
Closed
go into
session,
closed
okay.
session to
Okay.
have that presented. But I
Okay.
think it's important for the board to find out, you know,
Right,
if there's any suggestions that we should be behind or working on or something, but
How we could be better.
I don't want to also then violate anybody's personnel information, so we need to make sure that we can go into closed session to do that.
Okay.
And I think in that way, because, you know, we only meet once a month, we may even miss somebody doing an exit interview, but Laura and the president or the vice president or whoever's available could do it before they left and then just save it for the next meeting of the board.
Sure.
okay.
So if you can let us know at the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
And if we can, I'd like to get information from the most recent employee that's leaving.
Okay, staff reports.
So much.
You remember to start.
So much. I know I marked so many things and I was just like, oh my gosh, there's too much.
Okay, I'll start.
Thank you.
Okay. Alyssa's comments, she attended that MERS retirement conference. And I think if there's a way that any employee who is eligible for retirement have an opportunity to meet with MERS, so that's something that I assume would be set up internally. But yeah, it would help them in long-term planning to meet with the retirement company. Comments, Alyssa, and I look at the list of things that Alyssa does and all of the programming and everything, and she does a great deal of programming, and I just wonder if that gives her enough time to really work on staff development in her position. You know, I would like to see her do, working with staff to develop their skills. Obviously, a lot of really good work, Anya, and Danielle. Obviously, Fran is busy, and I really want to mention specifically Fran's working with the Sasha Meadows. That was something that the previous board member pushed for, and I'm glad to see it's really continuing. That's a biggie. Jesse, great job. And Rebecca actually had 17 show up, so good job.
Yeah, that was something I noted as well, the reaching out to the teens and bringing them in has been so important. I really appreciate the staff's doing. And Danny's report, talking about working on a self-publishing workshop with a local author. I thought that was very interesting. It helps students, be creative writers and things like that. And I think that was terrific. And Jesse talking about the 29 people that attended the Eclipse at the Library program on the 10th of October, on page 67. And then on the next page, Jesse also talking about 4 to 5 teens each week, bringing in things like Dungeons and Dragons, which I know is very popular. The TAB program, Rebecca talked about that, and the tie-dye, the 5 teens participating in that. So just, I love to see them, bringing in groups that maybe have been underrepresented in the past.
Okay, anyone else?
Jesse the Chaos Master, that's what my kids call him. They love the Dungeons and Dragons.
Chaos Master.
That's what they call him. I just, there's just so many things. My kids have been coming to almost all of the teen programs, and they really love it, coming in here and, spending time. They're really looking forward to the lock-in, on Friday and all that good stuff. So, yeah, bravo to everybody here. They're having a great time. They're building some new friendships and stuff too with the other teens in the library, which I think is so important, especially with homeschool kids, sometimes that's hard to do. So thank you. You guys are awesome.
I'm sure my daughter would love the lock-in. She's working at A&W. So.
Oh, shoot.
Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, because I don't let her work through the weeks. Just great job. You guys mentioned a lot of things that drew my attention, so I won't duplicate.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of creativity and really, if something doesn't work, thinking of trying something different, and that makes a huge difference in, obviously, like you said, drawing some of the community that we haven't too much in the past, and I think that's important. And Shauna, you need to make a much longer list for everything. I just know, because you've been working on the strategic plan with us, the vision, you worked on all of this stuff about the signage. I don't see anything in here about that.
I feel bad, it's 7 pages long, and I'm like, I can't make you guys read it.
Actually, we don't read.
We love it.
Take credit for it.
My other 25 pages is more important.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think gets kind of shorted here is that is the circulation, because just like when I worked at the bank, and I was a lender and I was in the back part of the bank, but the people that greeted my customers, that was so important. And I think it is here too in the library. Other than Jenny's kind of grumpy sometimes.
Not true.
Not at all.
I've never seen that.
You're always greeted with a hello, a welcome, a smile. I just think that is absolutely critical for making people welcome, and that's what we want here. And Sarah, you need to write that about all the smiles and everything that's going on.
I'll keep a little tally sheet.
Because I just do. It's not written in here, but I just think that's so important to the library. So I want to specifically thank the circulation staff for being so welcoming to everybody.
Okay. I want to congratulate you on your successful in-service. And we got to see some of it at the very end, but it sounded like a very successful day. And I understand with the signage, the need to close off those windows, but I get excited to see, who's in here, who's in today, who do I get to talk to at the circulation desk? It's a big deal.
Put up the picture.
Yeah.
It's Jesse.
Wouldn't it be so funny if we took a picture of staff members in different parts of the books back there, and then that's the same?
Yeah, that's what you see when you walk in. But thank you very much for everything you do. Okay. All right, library statistics. Any comments?
I noticed one thing that kind of jumped up this month was the Libby magazine checkouts near the bottom was what, averaging, 40 to 80, and it's up to 125. Is that because of people are more familiar with the mail? Does that come through mail or doesn't come through mail? Okay, there's other reasons for that.
No, but Libby just did a brand new thing in their app where they've made magazine profiles easier for patrons to find and use and interact with.
Okay.
That's what I'm expecting is the huge number increase of that.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Very good. Any other comments? Okay. Okay, calendar review for November. We do have election of new officers. A reminder that this will be a short month. We will meet 3 weeks from today because of the holiday. Public comment. Shauna, do you have anything to say? Jenny?
I do about the exit interviews. So I would never stand here in front of all of you and do that. Never. Yeah, it's not something I would do. I would prefer to do it with my supervisor and the director. Would maybe, if I really felt I had an issue, want one of you? Yes. But I would ask.
Okay.
And I would probably ask before even I got to that stage, but that's me. But I don't feel that asking an employee to stand in front of all of you is,
No.
that's for me. I don't know what other people would do.
Everybody agrees on
And
that.
I don't, and we can, and if I just want it between me and the director, or me and my supervisor, is that okay, or does it have to be public? Do you all have to know?
It does not.
So not every exit interview has to be shared with you?
No.
Correct.
Well,
No, that's not true.
okay.
That's fine, I just want to know that.
Well, we need at least the paper form,
Yep,
right?
Yep,
Yeah. But,
that's fine.
no, we're not.
Yes,
That's all.
You don't get the paperwork because you're not leaving.
Put me-
Take it away.
I'm aware.
So if we keep you frightened of the exit interview, is it guarantee you stay? Is
I
it
think all of you know me enough by now.
scare you?
I will say,
Nothing scares us more.
but, I just think that would be intimidating, especially for
Yeah.
other staff.
No, I
Well, you don't interact with us on a regular basis, so it's like, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Yes. Do you take staff members to be on your ad hoc committees or no?
Oh, we could.
Because I would be interested in helping you all out with your training endeavor.
I
where-
think that's a marvelous suggestion, and
The board training?
Yes,
Okay.
whether it be like helping you guys put together your assessments or helping you find training or so on and so forth.
Providing Laura's okay with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they're kind of short-staffed.
Well, you can just appoint that, can't you?
I couldn't appoint your staff necessarily.
No, you would
Yeah.
probably pick the staff member, I would think, who would be interested.
Well, we want Sean.
I think
Somebody who's interested, obviously.
I didn't have a permission yet either, so I guess it was a curiosity thing, and then I could go through the formal channels.
Thank you. Okay, where are we? All right. Anything on hold?
There's something. Oh, no, that was for next month.
Where would we put the director evaluation questions, items for next agenda?
Yeah, next agenda.
Yeah, that would be next agenda. Okay, items for next agenda, director evaluation questions.
Public computer and Wi-Fi policy has to come back.
Okay.
Was there another policy? Do we need to look at the whistleblower policy again too?
And then should we put job descriptions on here just as a reminder, so each time we can get a few of those, and get them done?
Whistleblower we approved.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. We didn't. Oh, got that in the wrong spot.
And job descriptions. What else? Okay. Okay, our director evaluation questions, whistleblower policy, job descriptions.
Public computer and Wi-Fi.
Public computer and Wi-Fi.
Okay. Anything else?
Do we need to discuss exit interviews again? Or no, we're done with that?
Yeah, Laura has to come back with that, so we should put that on there.
So we should,
What was that?
Exit interviews?
Exit interview to find out about the closed session.
And if it has, it has to be done, if it has to be done before they technically exit as an employee, before their last date.
Right.
I think that covers it. Anything else? Okay. Then we are adjourned at 7:09.